$75,000.
Oh, my gosh.
This is all over $75,000? That is amazing. I mean, you would think they were talking about $5 million. They made this big a deal over $75,000?
And not only, I mean, that's, outrageous in a way, but it's also mystifying to me. I can't imagine what proportion of that $75,000 they wasted.
Yeah.
In the court.
Much more than that.
Okay, so here's what happened. The general manager, once you blogged about this, little did they know that they were dealing with somebody who has some followers and then also works for a rather large and growing media company. You blog this, and Progressive immediately tweets over and over and over again, oh, we feel so bad, and our sympathies are with the Fisher family. And that doesn't go anywhere. And then Chris Wolf, the claims general manager at Progressive, writes and says, I'd like to take this opportunity to explain Progressive's role in this complex case. First and foremost, our deepest sympathies go to Caitlin Fisher's family. To be very clear, Progressive did not serve as the attorney for the defendant in this case. He was defended by his insurance company, Nationwide. There was a question as who was at fault, and a jury decided in the Fisher family's favor just last week. We respect the verdict and now continue to work with the Fisher family to reach a resolution. However, you provided, the Blaze went out and got court documents, and then you provided additional information. What the Blaze found was a document that reads, on this day, May of 2011, 19th day, Circuit Court for City of Baltimore, says that one, Progressive Advance Insurance Company can be and hereby is allowed to intervene as party defendant. Two, Progressive Insurance Company is granted all rights to participate in this proceeding as if it were an original party to this case. So why would they file for that petition, and why would they want that judgment if they weren't involved in the defendant's case? If they were at no, which side, where was the attorney? Was he sitting behind your parents or your sister's side, or were they sitting behind the defendant?
Yeah, he sat next to the defendant through the whole trial.
Oh, not even behind. Sat next to.
Yeah, at the table. And, to be clear, he did have, I think an attorney provided by his own insurance.
Yeah, well,
and I, I'm sure that there's a legal justification for them to say that, whatever it says in that statement that they,
of course,
they didn't defend him or whatever.
They're not the lead. They're not the lead attorney.
But
that's what it is.
They're essentially co-attorneys, right? They're
They were defending. They were sitting at the defendant's table.
Yeah.
I mean, this is infuriating. First of all, they stab you in the back the entire process. Then, when you come out and tell the truth about them, they try to get themselves off the hook for a technicality. I mean, this is infuriating.
But you notice what they do, and I hate to go down this road, but it is the Progressive Insurance, and it was named after the Progressive movement. What do the Progressives do? They always try to say that you don't understand it. The first line in their defense is, Progressive, hang on just a second, it's right here. We'd like to take the opportunity to explain Progressive's role in this complex case. They're basically saying, you don't understand. It's so complex, you don't understand. Mm-hmm. How dare you? How dare you?
I think anyone would understand the fact that when your side of the story is sitting with the other side of the story and making opening and closing arguments for them, that to almost any person on earth would signify a legal defense.
You know another parallel story of this that we've been covering? It just dawned on me. The David Barton story. The people say they're sitting on David Barton's side. No, I'm on David Barton's side. But they're sitting at the other person's table.
At the prosecution table.
They're sitting at the prosecution table. You can't play both.
No.
You can't be prosecutor and defendant.
Mm. Now, Matt, has Progressive since offered to settle in full? Or can you legally say?
There have been discussions with them, and not to be evasive, but again, to speak as a non-lawyer, I won't speak out of turn as to what's happening there.
Don't even answer. Let me ask you this. Sure. First of all, let me give you a piece of non-legal advice. Make them pay $75,000. They put your family through this. Make them pay, and more important than money, make them fire the people that were responsible so this doesn't happen to somebody else. You will look at the pain that you went through. It's not about money. It's about making sure this doesn't happen to somebody else's family. It's despicable. This is what gives insurance companies a bad name. And they don't want to have a bad name, and I'm sure they've done a lot of great things in the past. But it's these kinds of decisions that are despicable. Anyway, tell me a little bit about your sister, because how old was she?
She was 24 at the time, and I very much appreciate you asking. It's one of the most perverse things about this is that here I am, talking about insurance when if I had the year of the world, and I do a little bit, I'd be talking about my sister. She was 7 years my junior, and an engineer. She had just gotten her master's in engineering from Johns Hopkins and had begun to do incredible work, and work that mystifies my family. My parents look at my sister and I and wonder, where did those two people come from? A comedian and an engineer. And I had no one closer in my life. I've never heard of any two people as close as my sister and I were, and I've never heard of anyone who has been as good to another as my sister was to me.
How are your folks? How old are they? How old are your parents, Matt?
What's that?
How old are your parents?
My parents are, well, in the name of modesty, I will say they're in their 60s.
How are they holding up?
Well, they're excited. I got to say, during the trial, over lunch or, at the hotel, they said more than once in a pretty dejected way, I wish there was a way we could tell this story. I wish we could let people know that this is what the procedure is. We should start a Twitter. And at the time, we didn't hold out much hope that would happen. And because of you guys, quite frankly, and people around the world have told this story, and Matt, it's gratifying and to my family in a way that we could never explain or thank people enough for.
Here's what I would like to do. I'd like to fly you and your mom and dad down to Dallas, and have them come in and tell the story of your sister, of what happened, and also Progressive, and tell the whole story. If that's at all, I don't want to exploit it, and I don't need your family tragedy for any reason.
Right, whatever's best for you.
Whatever's best for you and your family, but you want to tell the story. Every resource I have is
you being sensitive to the tragedy here, but what we want to do is share our experience, and we're very, very grateful. That would be wonderful.
I'll have Julie or Joel or Tiffany, somebody will reach out and see if your family can come down next week, and we'll tell the story. God bless.
Thank you so much.
You bet. Matt Fisher, who, by the way, now's not really the time to mention he's going to be on the comedy show with us, but
he's also hilarious. Yeah.
He's hysterical, and I feel so bad that I didn't know that this was going on while he was making jokes.